we start the subject that we are going to speak about, based on Halakha. And later also, we have the way of practice among some of our communities, smaller communities, and especially among our host community, the Syrian community, which I am affiliated with. Though I'm not a Syrian myself, but as I work with them. First of all, we have to differentiate between the words that our rabbis gave us in Talmud in different places: Takana, Gezerah, Minhag, Humra. We know that the word Minhag has nothing to do with all the other three. Takana, as we know, for example, I'll bring just one example to each. Tikenu, Tefilot, אנשי כנסת הגדולה תקנו לנו תפילות, they said the prayers fast, גזירות, לא ירכב אדם על בהמה בשבת, לא יעלה על אילן, גזירה שמי יתלוש, all are including גזירה. To my opinion, גזירה, they came to forbid someone because of something else that he might break one of the laws in the Torah. Takana, setting things for the benefit of the people. As we know, the whole set of the prayers came because the people did not set their own prayers due to the exile that they had to go through different difficulties for their livelihood. Therefore, they set the prayers for them. I will speak mainly about the Minhag, and as I go on with the Minhag, I'll conclude with knowing what the Humra is. Minhag originally based in the Talmud in Masechet Psachim. We know that the Gemara gives us in the Mishnah the din, Makom Shinahagu La'asot Melacha Be'arvei Psachim Osim, Makom Shinahagu Shilo La'asot En Osim. That there are two different Minhagim in Arab Pesach, if they do have Melacha on that day or not. Of course, the idea of not having Melacha was to prepare themselves to work on Korban Pesach. Therefore, Nahagu Shlo La'asot Melacha. The Gemara says later in the Mishnah, Al Yishanei Adam Mepeneh HaMachlaket, which means if a person comes to a place that they don't do Melacha, he should not do the Melacha, because it brings mahloket, and you shouldn't make any different from the rest of the people. The Gemara brings a story about Bnei Meishan. There was a place called Meishan. Came the people of Meishan, they had a minhag that they did not travel from Tzor to Tzidon in Erev Shabbat. Rashi explains why did they have this minhag? Because they were occupied and busy in preparing Tzorchei Shabbat. They came to Rabbi Yochanan and asked him, Rabbeinu, our fathers, they had this minhag not to travel from Tzor to Tzidon on Erev Shabbat. Avotenu efshar lahem. Our fathers, they had the possibility, they could afford it, they were wealthy, they could stop from working, but we are struggling for our livelihood. We would like to go, since it is Yom HaShulchan, this is the day that we have to do our business. And he told them, you should not, Hizaharu b'minhag avotechem. You should not go to work, Mishum al titosh Torat imecha. Shema b'ni musar avicha, ve'al titosh Torat imecha. You should understand that from this pasuk comes the original law not to change the minhag of their fathers. However, this story was brought in Yerushalmi in a different way. Yerushalmi says that the name Hashem came to Rabbi and told him, Avotenu did not go by Yom HaGadol. They had a minhag not to travel on the Yom HaGadol. And Retzonenu Lelechet, because Avotenu efshar lahem, in the same way, we can't. And he answered them the same thing. היזהרו במנהג אבותיכם נוחי נפש. Then they asked Rabbi, לא יהיה אלא שהוא נדר נדר. The minhag, what is the explanation, the reason for the minhag that a person cannot practice minhag of his fathers? Because of neder, the minhag becomes like neder. Now, we know that on nedarim there is she'elah, which means if a person has some reason that he cannot keep his promise of fulfilling the vows that he took upon himself, he goes to Hakham and he asks if there is sufficient reason, the Torah gave power to the rabbis to make Hatarat Nedarim. And he said, how about Hatarat Nedarim? Then the Gemara said there is Devarim Aharim Hamutarim, Devarim Hamutarim Aharim Nahagu Bo Isur, Nahagu Bo Isur, Ata Matir Lahem. So it's still no, when there is sufficient reasons in Neder, we do give. Consider it neder. The Gemara said only the one who made the neder himself. When the father has made the neder and the son is going to keep it because of his father, he can. The Gemara said because logic, very common sense it is that the person who makes the vow himself is worse than a person who did not make the vow himself. Only he takes it because of his father. Then the Gemara said, must be that this is wrong. The main reason of Rabbi is not because of neder, the minhag, but because he has the idea of Rabbi Yehuda, שאסור לנסוע בים הגדול, לפני שבת, בשביל חילול שבת, בשביל סיבות אחרות, from different reasons. And has nothing to do with the fathers, not only because of God, because he thinks this is not the site of minhag, from the reason of minhag, but because of the deen. There is a deen that forbids to go, and this is the opinion of Rabbi. These are the differences between Babli and Yerushalmi. Then the Maran Yerushalmi put it because of Yom Gadol, conclusion because of the deen. As we see in Gemara Babli, and according to what Rashi explained, only because La'asuk b'tzorchei Shabbat, and it becomes only because of minhag, has nothing to do with the deen in the Torah, would be a very different, and according to these different explanations and different nasha'ot of Babli and Yerushalmi, would be, the law would apply much of the difference. We would understand from the Yerushalmi only minhag that based on a deen would be forbidden for children to change. But the minhag that has nothing to do with the deen could be that children don't have to keep it. But according to the Gemara Babli, we understand even if the minhag has nothing to do with the deen, has to do only with the custom that the fathers did it for some reason, for their convenience, then a person has to follow it. And as I saw, following the books, tracing and different poskim, I saw very big differences between different poskim about it. Some of the poskim said only minhag that based on deen. Some they said even if the minhag has nothing to do with the deen of Torah, of course, that the minhag comes for some mitzvah, some reason. You don't talk a minhag that has nothing to do with mitzvah. As we say, La'asuk b'tzorchei Shabbat, if there is some reason of mitzvah for the minhag, then the children can change it. However, I don't know what forced Rashi to explain the Gemara this way. This is again matter of an argument to explain the Talmud Babli in a different way. Since we see Talmud Yerushalmi comes into conclusion that the whole story of Bnei Maishan was forbidden only because She'asur L'Nsua B'Yam HaGadol, could be that the story in Talmud Babli meant also the same way. Avotenu lo nas'u mitzor letzidon b'ma'aleh Shabbatam because of Yom HaGadol, and Rabbi Yochanan told them, Al titosh Torah b'mecha, you should not leave. Could be that Rabbi Yochanan also the words will apply the same thing as in Talmud Yerushalmi. However, this is not the simple meaning in Talmud Babli since it's not mentioned in the Gemara itself. Now, when we come to find the basic law of the minhag, we go further. What is called minhag? Minhag, what if we see some people do it, or all the people, or once was done, many times, how often should the thing be repeated to be called a minhag? Or by how many people? Or by whom? Here again we see differences of opinions, but there is one thing agreed, that minhag must be based on vatikim. The poskim agree that minhag is not called minhag unless Allah and people approved of it and we saw them doing it, practicing it, and saying, well, then it's called minhag. But we see plain people doing it on their own without getting the approval of the leaders of the people. It's not called minhag. Very strange thing I saw, that there was an argument also about how often it should be. Some rabbis came and spoke about Birkat Hachama. As you know, once every 28 years there is a Berakha for Hazara Shemesh, or Baruch Hashem Ma'aseh Bereshit. Now there is some poskim who came and said, we didn't see this minhag of Birkat Hachama, and we do not say Birkat Hachama. Why? They don't give the reason for it. Came some other rabbis and told them, how do you call this? We don't see this minhag, something that happens once every 28 years. Could be that once comes passing by, people do not pay attention to it, they don't say Berakha, and you call it, it's not a minhag. How often does it come that you say it's not a minhag? Something which doesn't come very often, you can't call it minhag or not minhag. Came some rabbis and again disagree with this. They say, since there is a set time for it, if there was a minhag to say Birkat Hachama, then people would know about it. They know this comes every 28 years. If rabbis and leaders don't say it, must be that there is some reason. However, I tried to find some reason to that opinion that they say they don't say Birkat Hachama every 28 years. I found Don Tefilin, the opinion of Lulab, who says that all the Berachot that there is in Talmud, Birkat Halebana, they have to be said with Atshem or Malchut. Or like Berakim, Shomea Berakim, Shomea Haroeh Berakim, Shomea Ramim, Thunder and Lightning. They don't say Berakha with Shem or Malchut. And this is the custom that we see today among many, many communities, and especially Sfaradim, as we know. We never say Birkat Ramim with Shem or Malchut. We know that the Berakha comes if a person did not hear the thunder every 30 days. If it was a difference of 30 days, then we have to say Berakha. Otherwise, within 30 days, we don't say Berakha. However, when we say Berakha, we say it without Shem or Malchut. And again, it's based on this reason that Berachot, Aliyah or Shmi'ah, we don't say with Shem or Malchut. Of course, it comes then the question from different things of Aliyah that we do say Berakha with Shem or Malchut. And this comes like Lebana. Kiddush Yareach Lebana, which we do every month, and we say Birkat Yareach, and this is Birkat Aliyah. Here when we can find the reason for the difference why in some Berachot of the Aliyah they did say with Shem or Malchut, and some Berachot of the Aliyah they said without Shem or Malchut. Since we are speaking about Minhag, I'll mention a few of the things that they have to do also with the Deen, and further I'll go to what we practice in actuality among us Faradim and then the Syrian community. Now, if there is Minhag that goes against the Deen, there is a saying in Gemara Yerushalmi, Minhag mevatel halakha. The poskim agree that if the minhag comes and causing one of the Isurei Torah, definitely we don't follow the minhag. We must stop that minhag because of the Isur. However, if the deen has mahloket, even if it is Rabbim with Yahid, we follow the Yahid if there is a minhag that they follow. And this is the reason for many rabbis, they say that Maran in Shulhan Arukh wrote many times an opinion of the deen, Bistam without mentioning who is saying it, and then brings Yesh Omrim, the Yesh Omrim. Why did he have to mention the opinion of the Yesh Omrim? To tell you that if there is some Minhag who follow this opinion, that they shouldn't change it, that they have on me the smoke, on me the smoke. Now we know the rules in Maran. When he brings an opinion, Yesh Omrim v'Yesh Omrim, Halakha v'Yesh Omrim Batra. When he brings Taam v'Yesh Omrim, he doesn't mention at the beginning who. That means this is his opinion and this is the Halakha. And we know that Maran in his Hakdama introduction before Bet Yosef, his work of Bet Yosef, he wrote that he is writing his book Bet Yosef, and later of course he wrote the Shulhan Arukh, to give us the conclusion of the deen, since there are many different opinions in the poskim, and he based all his halachot on the majority opinion, mainly of these three great leaders, great rabbis in poskim, Harif, Rambam, and Harosh. And always he took the majority opinion, 2 out of 3. When he saw that one of them did not express his opinion, and there was difference of opinions between the two, then he went to look what other Rishonim said, and mainly he had a lot of respect towards Harashvat. He looked what did Harashvat say, what was his opinion. Now, however, in his book, in his introduction, Maran Bet Yosef says like this: I'm giving the conclusion of the halakha. However, if there is a minhag anywhere that they do differently, they should keep their minhag on, not to be changed. Based on these words of Bet Yosef, definitely since he knew that minhag is mivatel halakha, therefore we the Sephardim know, though we accepted upon ourselves that we should follow all what Maran says according to the halakha, there are some minhagim kedumim before the Shulhan Arukh, before Maran came and gave his conclusion, that we do not change them. We don't change those minhagim. That's why we see the differences of minhagim sometimes among the Keilot, Sepharadiyot themselves. As we see also among Ashkenazim who follow the Rama, the Rab, and also there are differences according to the minhagim. That's why as we see Maran says, ve'en nohagim ken, ve'chen nohagim, or the Svara Rishona Ikar, but en nohagim ken, and so with Rama. Here I'll mention a few of the examples that we, in some cases we do follow Maran because of the minhag, that Maran brings it because of the minhag, and some places we do not follow Maran. We know that there is in Tisha B'Av, there is halakha that we say Haftara in Shahrit and Minhag. And this is the halakha also of Maran and all the poskim except Rambam, who mentioned that there is no Haftara according to the Minhag in Minhag and the Tisha or other Ta'aniyot. The Minhag among the Syrian Jews, they don't say Haftara in Tisha Minhag. And again, here the Minhag is Kadum based on the opinion of Rambam, though it is against Maran. There is another thing which I find daily among our people, Nesiat Kapayim. We the Sephardim nohagim that the Kohanim Nesiat Kapayim Bekol Ram. Not the way the Rama made a Psak Halakha, that according to the Minhag, that they do only in Yom Tov, from Yom Tov to Yom Tov according to Ashkenazim. And Allah Bet Yosef didn't like this idea, and he said, Levatel mitzvat aseh for Taamim Kedushim, for very weak reasons. He said, Tavo aleim Berakha shel kol ele hanogim לעשות נשיאת כפיים בכל יום. Who do make נשיאת כפיים the Kohanim בכל יום. This is the minhag among all the Sephardim all over the world, that they do Nesiat Kapayim b'chol yom. However, there's one thing that we know. Before the Kohanim make the Nesiat Kapayim, there is Makreh. The Hazan says each and every word based on the Ma'amar of Tefilah. Amor lahem, Yevarecha Merecha. They have to say first Yevarecha, somebody has to tell them, and then they repeat. Now, according to Haramban, we don't see that he mentions they say Yevarecha. Only the Kohanim begins from the word Hashem. And then the Hazan, the Kohanim begin Yevarecha, the Hazan Makreh from the word Hashem, and then they repeat. Why? Since this is the first word, there is no Hashash of Ta'ud, they can start by themselves without being Makreh. However, the Maran and all the poskim, there is Haftara from the very beginning, from the word Berakha. Only in Harambam we see that there isn't Berakha, and this is the Minhag among the Syrian community, the Syrian Jews, that they don't say Berakha. Even for me it was strange when I talked to this community and I saw it, but this is my thought that always when I see seminar I try to trace and follow if there is some kind of makor to that custom, and when I find the makor in the halakha, then I don't try to correct people or tell them that this is wrong or this is right. Now there is one thing which was very strange to me since I was in Yerushalayim. We know that before the Nesiat Kapayim there is Hadithat Na'alai, that they take off the shoes. Happened to be that a person came, a newcomer came from Syria, in Yerushalayim. We prayed in the Sam Ashkenazim Shul. Came that young fellow who was Kohen. He didn't take his shoes off, went to the Noten, made a Nesiat Kapayim. Somebody right away made a comment to him. How is that you go with your shoes? He said, this is a custom in our country. We all go, everybody goes with shoes to make a Nesiat Kapayim. Right away the man turned to me. He said, here is a rabbi, as far as rabbi. We'll ask him. They came to me. I never heard of such a thing. I said, right away, Havatzir l'shaker yabhik adam. Says in the country, I don't believe in such a thing. The young fellow was ashamed of me, didn't say a thing. However, when I came to this community, and I saw with my own eyes that the whole community is doing such a thing, and I saw that they have great rabbis, great leaders. I tried to trace to find out what they used to do 50 and 60 and 80 years ago among the great rabbis. Found out that it is true. Many of them were great leaders, Kohanim themselves. They never took their shoes off. They said that's the way they saw from their fathers and so on. Trying to find out the reason for it. Up to now I didn't find the reason. The only I tried to find my own guess for the custom, which I think Rabotenu says Gadol Kevod Adeliyot Shedahet Not Ta'atesh Batorah. In many places. The people in Syria lived in such a way, as we know, in the recent hundreds of years at least, in such a poor way that many of the people didn't have a chance very often to change their clothing, and therefore when they came to the shul, they was not possibility of taking their shoes off, or being for the order, that posing in the shul and so on. Therefore maybe they saw that it's better to set for them that they should continue to stay with their shoes and making the Nesiat Kapayim better than bringing Chas v'Shalom ikavod in the place of the shul. Up to now, I didn't find any better reason for this of Hadithat Na'alayim that they don't do among the Syrian people. I think that's why they continue to do it. We see also the differences in Hanahat Tefilin between us and Ashkenazim. Here is the funny thing that Maran does not mention a thing about it in Shulhan Arukh. There is a remedy for it in Maran someplace, but nothing beferush. But Ramah says, נוהגים להניח תפילין של יד מיושב ושל ראש מעומד, which we don't see this among Ashkenazim. But this is the Minhag of Sfaradim. The reason why the Sfaradim follow this Minhag, more than the Ashkenazim, as we see, while Maran does not say it. They are very particular about it, that they teach their children always, you must put Tefillin Shel Yad Miyoshev and Shel Rosh Ma'omed. As we know, though we said we always follow the words of Maran, unless there is a custom which is different, but we know also that many cases we do not follow Maran because of the Kabbalah. Whenever the Kabbalah, especially Rav Ali, came and gave us his conclusion according to the Kabbalah, we follow the words of Rav Ali. And the main cause for this, to leave the opinion of Maran and to follow Rav Ali, I think originated because we saw Maran himself change his mind in one of the laws to follow Rav Ali. And he mentioned it, since Ruach HaKodesh Hofi'a b'Beit Midrasho shel Rav Ali, and he said that, I follow him. And since we see that Maran himself had to follow Rav Ali and change his mind about the halakha, therefore we follow Rav Ali more than the dinim that suit in Shulhan Arukh. The case that Maran changed his mind, it's mentioned in Nesiat Kapayim. He brought adut from one of the Hachamim that was at the time of Maran. Maran mentions a din about Berachot, one of the Berachot in Birkat Hachama. Noten koch. Said, יש אומרים, יש נוהגים לברך ברכת הנותן ליעף כוח, ואין דבריהם נראים. This is the din of Maran. Not to say the Berakha of הנותן ליעף כוח, which is not mentioned in Talmud. There are different of the Berachot that they are not mentioned in Talmud, and Maran tried to find out if every Berakha, if we do say it or not. In הנותן ליעף כוח, he went against the opinion of those who say Noten Koch. However, they say that Maran at the end of his life, he himself used to say Noten Koch, since Rav Ali said that he should say it. And this is the adut of Hakham that I can have when after he wrote it in Shulhan Arukh. Since Maran himself, after coming at the conclusion, the end of him that changed his mind because of Rav Ali, therefore we always follow the words of Rav Ali. Same thing about the Birkat Hachama itself. We, the Sfaradim, do not follow Maran over here that he says we don't follow Rambam. We follow Maran according to the Minhag. That we know Rambam says the Birkat Hachama, we do not say them all in order as we come before the prayer, as we do, especially among Ashkenazim, that Hazan stands up and he says it all in order and they all answer Amen. We as Sfaradim say it everyone for himself, at home. But the Rambam says, כששומע קול התרנגול, אומר הנותן לשכל מנהל להלחין בני ולעליו. כשרגש חברו, אומר עוזר ישראל, כשחוגר חברו, אומר עוזר ישראל בגבורה. Every Berakha must be said, recited at the time that the action takes place, according to the words of the Talmud. And this is the law of Rambam. However, as Maran brings, the Minhag is to say them all in order, and this is the Minhag Sfaradim also against Rambam, since many of the Rishonim agreed to say it in order. I see also in Basar B'Halab a big difference between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim, which has to do with the law. Has to do with the rule of nat bar nat. Noten Taam ben Noten Taam. We know that we are not supposed to use any pots or dishes that were used already for something of Isur. Even though they are clean, we can't use it for Haftara. Why? Because the Isur gives Taam into the pot, and then the pot again comes out the Taam into the thing that we cook, the Haftara, and this is Isur. However, they come and say, how about the part that I cooked meat in it, and then I want, after it's been cleaned, I want to use dairy, the same thing is Isur. The Taam of the basar goes into the halal. How about if I use it for something which is not meat and not dairy? A meat pot, I take for example, I cook rice in it. And then I want to use this rice with dairy, to put something, milk on it, milk itself, or use it to a dish, milk, put it on a milk plate. According to the Ashkenazim, this is forbidden because not the Haftara is asur till must be 3 Noten Taam. What is 3 Noten Taam? Because here there is only 2. One, the meat went into the pot, then the pot into the rice. This is 2 Noten Taam, and I can't eat the dairy straight with the rice. But must be shlishi, that is Birkat Ram. That means after the pot there is kara, and then we are permitted to have this with milk. This according to Ashkenazim. But for us, for Adim, Maran gives the halakha, not the Haftara is mutar. Which means this is the way we do in our homes. Some of the Sfaradim that were raised and they were brought up among Ashkenazim communities, thought that this is the law for them too, what they saw from Ashkenazim, and they continue to do so, and it might bring in turn later on differences between Sfaradim. This one says absurd, this one says mutar. That's why I try to emphasize this, that some of Sfaradim, only because being raised among Ashkenazim, thought that this is absurd from the din. We cook rice in a meat pot, and then we take this rice, we put it in a dairy plate, and we use it with dairy, we put milk on it, we do anything because it is not the Haftara. This is Pshat Halakha of Maran, and definitely we follow it. It has nothing to do with only Minhag, but the din itself. Now, of course, we come to the things of Minhag that they have to do based on the din in Berakha. How long to wait after we eat meat for dairy? Now we know, according to Pshat Rambam, Halakha Maran also, 6 hours, 6 hours. We come and see different minhagim, that some they permit it in 3 hours, some even in 2 hours, and this originated in the Gemara. The Gemara in Shulhan says like that. The Rabbi says, Ana halab hamra ligabe abba. I'm considered like vinegar, the sign of wine, in comparison to my father. My father, if he ate meat now, he did not eat anything of dairy till the following day, the same time. But if they do anan, so but I myself, miss Sauda, the Sauda. Now I wait from 1 meal to 1 meal. Now most of, according to Harambam and some of the Rishonim, when Sauda, we know that the custom was at that time, the Taam of Talmud, that people ate 2 meals a day, as they call it in the Gemara, Sha'a Rabi'it min hayom, V'Sha'a Asirit min hayom, which means about 10 o'clock in the morning now, and then 4 o'clock afternoon. These were the 2 meals were eaten every day. Now from between these 2 meals, there is 6 hours. From these they learned the din of 6 hours, and they gave us the reason for 6 hours. או עד שיתעכל, המזון שבמעל, or some reason בשר שבין השיניים. There is nafka mina between the 2 opinions. I wouldn't now go into dealing into this matter, what the nafka mina. Now, however, the Tosfot and many of the Rishonim came and said, מסעודה לסעודה, וכאן אומר, ובנתם שיכולים, from 1 meal, they finish, they clean the table, they clear everything, was a month and sit down, again bring another meal of dairy. However, they saw that this is, to say right away, miyad, it can't be meal after meal, he ate one after another. That's why came the custom sound that says an hour, 2, 3. There is no natata de Berakha l'shu'urim. There is no, that's why we see differences between them. Up to now, the German Jews who are the very, very most Orthodox Jews, they continue with this minhag of 3 hours, but however, we know that we can't change this minhag of 6 hours, 6 hours. And we were very particular. The only thing I see in an argument recently, some of the rabbis want to say the 6 hours doesn't have to be exactly on the minute, because after all, our fathers those days, they didn't have shawat exactly to follow every hour of 60 minutes, which is follow 360 minutes. It would be 330. It's not that. Well, it's about, he says, 6 hours. One of the great rabbi Paskan of nowadays in Eretz Israel, who is Rabbi Aliyah Yosef, for the book Yabi'a Omer. And this is his personal opinion, though it's a matter of feeling if there is something lahmir or not. Since our minhag is to be very particular about 6 hours, we do. However, I would like to mention this, that there is a big mistake now among many of the people that they ask, since when we start to count these 6 hours? From the beginning of the meal or the end of the meal? To my opinion, I wouldn't even speak about it, but unfortunately recently I heard that some learned people speak and they say, oh definitely from the time you finish your meal. This is a ridiculous statement. There is no question. They say from the beginning of the meal. Definitely it is from the end, because otherwise again would be the law look very funny. A person who ate a meal in 10 minutes, he finished it, and if you start from the beginning and it starts at 12 o'clock, he has to start from 12 o'clock, he waits 6 hours, and one who would eat from 12 till 4:30, he has to wait only an hour and a half. It doesn't sound logic, doesn't sound right. However, it is definitely from the end, and this is again according to the reason, since the mazon shemit'aken takes time of 6 hours, or basash ben hashinayim, and to follow the ta'amim, there's no question that we have to follow the end of the meal. Now from basar halal, I'll go to mention also that Tefilah Bekol Ram. Here we see something that wasn't even in time of Maran. Maran brings that in Sifat, in the place he lived, the custom was that they never said lahash in Amidah of Minhag. They used to say Bekol Ram, till Kadosh, then they finished the Amidah. And we know that before Maran, a generation before Maran, already they made haram about it, and the Minhag, all the Sfaradim were that they say lahash and Hazara. And here we see that Minhag Kadum before Maran, only in Sifat that Maran did not bring such a din, they continue based on a Ramban, not to say that Tefilah Bekol Ram. But among us Sfaradim always that Tefilah Belahash, this is Minhag even against what Maran is mentioning. And we see marriage. It is one of the great lawyers, Ramban Nahmani, who brought, they bring it in his name, that not to perform marriages that shouldn't take place at the second half of the month, which is at the time that the Lebanon goes less and less. They say it's not for good luck, better to do it in the first half of the month, the time of the Aliyah. Here came a matter of argument. Is this Minhag, which is amongst the Faradim, Zihirim, many of the Faradim communities I saw, Zihirim me'od in this thing, to try to perform the marriage in the time of Aliyah Halebana and not Yeridat Halebana. However, to my opinion here, again has to do with this, with the mitzvah. If the mitzvah is going to be delayed because of this, definitely they don't have to follow such a minhag that has to do only with hashashot of simanim, siman tov or not siman tov. But if there is no difference, the person has the choice, which has to do with the time that if it is suitable from the wife's point of view to be performed at the time of the Aliyah, it's better to do it at the time of the Aliyah. Here, as I said before, minhag, which will be some kind of issur, could be also bitul mitzvah aseh. The mitzvah aseh is more important than following this minhag to see if the marriage should be at the time of Aliyah or the Rida of the Lebanon, since it has nothing to do with the din. Now I'm trying to take different laws that have to do with Haim and Ibn Azar, and later will end also even something that has to do with Momonot. Now I'll mention something that has to do with Shahita. We know what you see and hear over here in America, stores of butchers that they sell meat, kosher meat, and what they call also glass kosher, as we call it in Hebrew, halak or kasher. We know that these things of halak and kasher, based on making the deen in Shulhan Arukh, the difference between Maran and Muram, or Mahabir and Arab, or Maran, Arab could be a Seth Kalam, could be Moshe Isra, Shama, that the difference between them based on mi'uch u'mishmush b'sircha on it. We know that there are many times there is a sircha which is not smooth. When we check the shahatim, check the re'ah, the lung, to see if they see anything hanging from the re'ah, from one place to another, from the lung itself to the side of the body, or the lung itself from one part to another, something hanging over there, then has to be checked. According to Maran, the minute we see sircha, this is taref. It's not kasher unless it is smooth, that there is no sircha whatsoever. This is what we call in Yiddish glad, or in Hebrew halak. And that was the custom also in Yerushalayim for all and many generations in the past. But Lamar means, however, the Minhag is to make mehuf and mishmush b'sircha. What is it? That they take the re'ah, they try to take that stream prayer by prayer out, to peel it, and then blowing the re'ah to see if mebatzbetz, the way we do with tubes over here now, with tires, put in water, see if it is bubbling, then it's tarek. That's sign that there is neked. Otherwise, it's kasher. There is no neked and kasher. Of course, the opinion of Rama is based on the Rishonim, that many of the Rishonim says, en sircha below neked. The reason sircha cannot be formed as sircha in the re'ah if there wasn't a hole in the re'ah. Therefore, it's tarek. And this was the custom in Yerushalayim, in Eretz Israel, for many generations. Till the new immigration started coming to Israel, and with the big immigrants, large amount of immigrants that we have in Israel, the Shuhatim came to take place also among the Ashkenazim, and the Goyim who used to sell the meat to the Jews, the selling did not take place till after the Shechita. If the meat came kosher, then the Jews bought it and was much more expensive than Tefilah. If the meat wasn't smooth, there was any sircha over there, then the guy used to lose a lot on account of it. When the Shahatim Ashkenazim came and they started making mehuf and mishmush, and right away he said, I don't want to go to any Shahid Sfaradim. The guy, I want the Shahid Ashkenazi, he makes it kosher for me. What you make paper for me, it makes a big difference to him with the animal, $200 or $50. He is losing $150 on every head of the cow. Both the problem that the Sfaradim that used to eat only halak, they can't eat now, they will have to eat the kasher, the shazim. What mahloket, after mahlokiyot, they made bishara, that they would, from then on, they would stamp the meat in two different ways. Halak and kasher. They wouldn't say this is taref anymore, but they would pull it halak and kasher. Of course, here we see one of the paradoxes that happened, change of history. The Sfaradim who ate always meat kasher continue to eat kosher meat, without knowing the common man did not compromise with this idea of halak and kasher. And you kasher, I'm eating all my life kosher meat. He went to the butchery, it was kasher. The halak, it was a little bit more expensive, who paid attention to it. The Ashkenazim, who liked the idea there is halak, they started following to buy only the glass kosher. And now in Israel, there is more among Ashkenazim who eat the glass kosher, and among the Sfaradim, the very few only Tefilah Bekol Ram and Yeshivah, the Torah by the Tefilah Bekol Ram, this is the right meat for us, not the other one. But very, very hard to the common man was, I'm talking about my time when I used to see Yerushalayim, the 100,000 Jews that were over there, I would say 999% all of them were religious people that followed they wanted everything according to Jewish religion. Still, no, the common man couldn't absorb that, what? I used to eat kosher years ago. Now I eat kosher. You tell me no, don't eat it. You couldn't understand differences between halal and kasher. That's what we see also in this country. That among Sfaradim they eat kasher, and among Ashkenazim there is more that they eat halal. However, they come say here in this country there isn't much of differences, because many times shahatim themselves, if there is a sikha, they don't bother with it too much, only not as often as in Eretz Israel. However, I was witness myself. I witnessed that they do make Hakham Baruch also. I didn't go all over in many of the batwas that there is here in the country, but in life I did visit. I saw that they make Hakham Baruch. Now there is one of the very big dinim also that I'll mention here, that we do not follow Maran. We are also Sfaradim, and we follow the Minhag, and it has to do also with Minhag Kadum, a custom that was before the time of Maran. There is a rabbi who wrote the book Biyona Nahon, who wrote a book called Nahpa Bakesef. He wrote many books, one of them Nahpa Bakesef. He was the rabbi of Rab Shita. In his book Nahpa Bakesef, he brings up in what do we have to do about Ben Hashmashot of Shabbat. As you know, there is many different opinions about Ben Hashmashot. When does it begin? When does it end? What is the time for the night to start? And you know, in Maran, we see Halakha and Shulhan Arukh of Haim, that he seems to be following the opinion of, not of Ageonim, but of Taam. And therefore they find it very hard to understand what do we follow, how do we do against the opinion of Maran. We know that we do today Ben Hashmashot, we follow the Birkat Hachama, is the day till sundown, and from Birkat Hachama till Nesiat Kapayim, that's the time of Shloshat Yamim, as we know, and from then is Laila Vadai. But according to Maran, there are three different main shittot about it. Taam, Hageonim, Halaq Meat. Now, we today follow Shittat Hageonim. Maran does not agree with Shittat Hageonim, which is a very big Lulab. Some Hasidim in Yerushalayim and Hakham, they take both Lehumrah. They take Arab Shabbat, according to the Geonim, to make it early, the Shabbat. And Motzei Shabbat they try to wait according to that of Taam, which is an hour and 12 minutes, 4 minutes, to wait after the Shabbat, after the Shki'ah is over, an hour and 12 minutes, and this is what they do in Kippur, this is what they do on Shabbat. However, the custom is B'chol Tfutzot Israel, all over the world, that they don't wait according to the opinion of Taam, which they took the Kula of the Geonim, that's only that time of Shloshat Yamim, which is from the Shki'ah till after that is Tzedek Chavim. Now, Maran does not agree with it, which is Tzedek Chavim. That since the custom was before Maran, according to what's written already, Maran himself mentioned it, that the Minhag was not the way he's saying, therefore we still follow the Minhag. As we said, Minhag Vivatel Halakha, we follow the Minhag Kadum, even though Maran came into conclusion that this is what we have to follow. However, there is a minhag among Syrian people in Syria, Syrian Jews, that they don't say the Berakha, the Nashim. However, we in Eretz Israel, the Nashim say the Berakha. And again, Maran said that Nashim should not say Berakha on Lulab because of the bien kol haptur min hadavar v'aseu nikra idiot, and the mitzvat aseh shazman gerama Nashim peturot, and Lulab is mitzvat aseh shazman gerama, therefore they shouldn't say the Berakha. Here we see the Pshat Maran, the Nashim shouldn't say the Berakha, and we follow the Minhag that was before Maran already, as it's written already in the Poskim, that the Nashim say the Berakha. Among the Berakhot, I'll mention last about Piyutim. You all know that many of our great rabbis wrote Piyutim, as Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, Rabbi Moshe ben Ezra, many of our great Mishurim of the greatest, what piyutim that they have to do with piyut lenishmat, rishut lenishmat, or rishut leyotzer. And so in the Kiddushot and the Hazara, many of the Aharonim, later after those Mishorerim, came and went again saying those piyutim because it had said in the middle of the Yotzer, and so with Nishmat. And we see that Maran himself, he mentioned about those piyutim, that's better not to say them. However, what the Minhag, since those Mishorerim, great rabbis, formed those piyutim, was Minhag among many of the Sephardim community that they said them, and up to now, this Minhag continued in many communities. However, recently, we see in many communities this Minhag being changing from what its originality, even though they used to say, as I said before, that they follow the Kabbalah. Since the Rabbi Ari said not to say anything, they start now to say piyutim, and they try to say them or before Baruch Shamar or after Hazara B'Shas. And this is the custom now among Syrian Jews and many of other communities of Sephardim, that they don't say any of the piyutim in the middle. However, when we come to the Hazara, there is piyutim that they have to do with Kiddushot, especially in Musaf. And it's sometimes in Shahrit also and in Musaf. Now those piyutim of Kiddushot of Chenak, Nishach, Melech that we have, some they say that even the Hazan could say it, and some they object that the Hazan would say it again because of upset, and therefore they let the Hazan keep quiet, and somebody else says those Hushiyot. Now here we come to an argument. Depends how long it will take for those piyutim to last. Because there is an opinion, there is a din, if a person is באמצע התפילה, ופסק, ושהה כדי לגמור את כולה, לא יוצא לחובה, he has to repeat. Now, since there is such an opinion, if a person will last too long with the piyutim, that he will be able already to finish the Amidah, again there is, it says, even in shtika, and keeping quiet. And therefore they object also that someone else would say it. And in many communities, now they do say it, even the Hazan. In some of our communities, the Hazan don't say it, only somebody else. Among the Syrian Jews, don't say it altogether, the piyutim, only they go straight to the Kedusha, the way regular Kedusha is every Amidah. That's right. They do say that exactly the way it is in Amidah. I said, okay, I'll tell you why. Hazara also didn't say it before in the masses. But in Hazara they got a rabbi from Yerushalayim, whose name was Rabbi Abu Afia, and he made a custom of many customs in the masses to follow the custom of Yerushalayim, of the Spanish Jews in Yerushalayim, and that's why they follow. You see many of the customs in the masses are exactly the same in Hakham of Yerushalayim. When I say the Syrian Jews, I refer to the Syrian Jews that have different Minhagim of Yerushalayim, which is Aleppo. Because Damascus is almost 99% of them Minhagim exactly like Yerushalayim. And there's nothing to make a difference between them and Minhagim Yerushalayim. Now the last thing which I saw recently in one of the magazines here in New York, that they spoke a lot about it, and seemed to them they condemn a person who is not practicing the way they did, and when you come to tell them such a thing, it sounds to be a very strange and new, they can't believe you. This is when they call on a person to go to the Torah. We know that a custom there is among many of the communities in the world that they call on a person by the name, V'ya'amod, Mr. So-and-so, to the Torah. We, the Sephardim all over the world, do not call by the name. They call a person going to invite him, please go to the Torah. This originated already in many of our books. It's written that they made this minhag purposely, that if a person was called by name and he doesn't go to the Torah, נכלל בכלל ארור אשר לא יקים בדברי התורה הזאת, that there is a cursing, and therefore to avoid this cursing, they avoided calling a person by name. Because since they don't call him by name, if a person that refuses does not include in this kilala. But the Talmud, what's the opinion of the Talmud about it? The Taam of the Talmud, did they call by name or not? There is a different sense of opinion between Harosh and Rishonim. That according to the Harosh has an opinion that they used to call by name. So according to other Rishonim, they did it. And this is what we follow, since it's not the makor of the Talmud. We don't call by name today, and this is not a strange. B'ezrat Hashem, I hope I will conclude with these things, that any time we see a minhag that we being done by a full community, a complete community, we should try to find a reason for it. We should not ignore that since we are accustomed differently, ignore that custom, definitely that there is some core to it, and this is the law also, that everyone has to follow this minhag, as the Torah, the Mecha, and this was my way also, and I was among Ashkenazim, as a spiritual leader, a rabbi among Ashkenazim community. Many times they asked me some law, I said, this is the law for you, is this way, though I myself do it different, but since I'm a Sephardi, but for you Ashkenazim, this is the law. And B'ezrat Hashem, till the time of the Mashiach, that Hashem yekabetz the Hay Israel, and will unite all of our people. B'ezrat Hashem would be, though it is Torah Ahad now, would be also Minhag Ahad, as we have Torah Ahad, the Elu va'elu Devarim Hayim. And our Rabbi said about the Shammai v'Tileh, v'lo nimna'u militza nashim ma'ahad nasheni. The same thing now, there is no meni'at nisu'in between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim. We have full respect on both sides, and this is also one of the laws that in case there is nisu'in between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim, what minhag they have to follow. Already the Poskim said that the Isha has to follow the minhag of Ba'ala, and this will be especially it's written about the rights. As we know in the Gemara, it's written in the Gemara that Hanehu B'nei Chazah, they used to have a custom to take halak from orange, from rice. We know that the orange is not minhag. And they used to take halak. And the Birkat Haim itself, whoever they spoke about B'nai Maishan, they took halak, and right away they told the rabbi, B'nai Chazah, they take halak from rice. They take halak, bring it to Israel, let him eat the halak. Allah will eat it in Israel, Hayav Mitan. This is only for the Fahim. Let somebody else with Israel eat it in front of them. And they asked him, how do you do such a thing? It's forbidden. He told them, not the Varim and that has to do with deen, not with ta'ud. That this is the ta'ud they are mistaken. He told them Bekuti, there's different answers. I'm not going to argue about the whole matter in the Gemara. But we see that the oil is not mean dagan. And all this, what did the Rav worry so much? They shouldn't have halal.